Vez returned to his hotel room and was met with a cranky Lucky, who yowled at him for being neglected all day. Before he had a chance to respond, he received a notification from his bank telling him that Marcella had transferred him the $7 million credit advance for his material needs. Sleep can wait. He activated a terminal and visited the MTA's online market. He had already taken note of all the materials he required. So, after meticulously checking over the details, he put all the items in his shopping cart and confirmed his purchase. The 7 million Bright credits vanished from his account as quickly as they had come through. At least I paid for express shipping. The goods should arrive on my doorstep by the time I've left the shuttle. As he lay down on his bed, he reflected on the tumultuous events he had experienced during his trip to Bentheim. In just 2 days, he had put his name on the map by coming second during the side tournament at the YTE. Although it wasn't as prestigious as the main event, it was nonetheless one of the best prizes a young mech designer could win in the Republic. Not only that, but Vez had also enlisted the services of a well-established mech broker. With Marcella Bollinger taking care of selling his products in Bentheim, he could devote all his attention to fabricating his mechs and coming up with new designs. He knew the 20% commission she would be taking from his gross profits was extortionate and would damage his bottom line. But if she could assure he had a steady stream of customers, in the long run, the profit he would make would be considerably more than if he had wasted time selling the mechs in person. Maybe Marcella has a point. If I hire people to work for me, I can do my own thing and let my employees take care of all the annoying and tedious aspects of running a business. Not that that's something I can think about just yet. The boutique is far too small for employees. If I hired anyone now, they would just be sitting twiddling their thumbs all day long. After a few more minutes of thinking, he quickly fell fast asleep. Vez woke up with a start. He had overslept, and he barely had time to shower, pack, and grab a sandwich before Captain Jillian was hustling him to the spaceport, alongside the other contestants. The crowd of mech pilots now regarded him with a very different attitude. It was clear some of them were very impressed with his accomplishments, although others were more puzzled by why such a talent would have settled in the far hinterlands of the Republic. Vez was prepared for all the extra attention. Of all the graduates who had participated in the Young Tigers exhibition, it was he who had achieved the best results. The next best pilot had barely managed to scrape into the top 50, but all he wanted to do was focus on his upcoming fabrication project. And he dismissed any attempts made by the mech pilots to spark up a conversation. It wasn't that he didn't want new friends. He simply didn't have the time for them. By the time the shuttle had flown up and escaped Bentheim's gravity, he was already pulling out his comm and making a detailed flowchart of his fabrication process. His haphazard techniques had worked fine with Iron Spirit's modern 3D printer and assembly, but he had to be a lot more considered when using his equipment in the real universe. Just one wrong setting could ruin a component worth 1 million credits, so it would pay to be prudent. He also applied for a production license for the Festive Cloud Generator. As one of only 2 non-native components of the Mark Antony, the MTA would not approve its use if he didn't have a license. Fortunately, as the component was widely seen as a joke, Vez only had to part with 100,000 credits for a 10-year license for the decorative part. But that still meant his cash reserves were instantly halved. The space shuttle was traveling at a leisurely pace, as it took its place in a queue heading toward its designated Lagrange point. Only a limited number of ships were permitted to depart simultaneously to ensure the local space-time was not disturbed. To ensure this, ships had to queue up and wait in line at these points. The heavy traffic to and from Bentheim caused some congestion, though that was a relative term considering the vastness of space. When their turn finally came, everyone paused what they were doing and prepared for the FTL transition. The shuttle vibrated a little before the green light was given, and the FTL drive was engaged without any issues. The return trip to Cloud Curtain was longer than the journey out. Bentheim's favorable gravity currents meant the traveling time was reduced for all ships traveling toward the port system. But there was no such advantages when a ship departed and traveled to a non-port system. By the time the shuttle finally arrived at the edge of Cloud Curtain star system, Vez had already lost a day and a half of valuable production time. And he still had more traveling to do as the shuttle began its slow-in system burn from the edge of the system to its interior. While Vez fidgeted with his plans, the other passengers relaxed, took naps, ate their meals, and visited the toilets. He went over the same scheme countless times until he finally forced himself to close his eyes and get some sleep. When the shuttle eventually reached the planet's surface, Vez muttered his thanks before saying a hasty goodbye to Captain Gillian and getting himself away from the others as fast as he could. He ordered a priority taxi and zipped back to the outskirts where his workshop beckoned him home. Home, sweet home. Vez could hear the relief in his own voice, and Lucky echoed his thoughts as he scurried back to his favorite spot on the couch. Let's see if they've delivered the goods yet. Vez had spent a substantial number of credits fast-tracking the shipment of materials from Bentheim directly to Cloud Curtain. He went into his backyard and entered the area cordoned off for aerial deliveries. Waiting for him were multiple containers stacked neatly into 5 piles. He opened each one individually and confirmed their contents. Once he knew everything was accounted for, he felt himself smile for the first time in days. I have everything I need to begin fabricating. Before he got started, he saw that Marcella had sent him a brief message while he had been on the shuttle. She thought she might have found a customer for his variant, but the negotiations were dragging on. The customer wanted to squeeze as much as he could out of the deal, so Marcella was purposefully stalling in order not to look desperate. Vez didn't give her message much thought. He was just glad the marketing was being taken care of, and he could focus on fabricating. But before he started, he realized he had forgotten something very important. I haven't started up the Mech Designer System in almost a week. I wonder what it thinks about everything I've experienced. I mean, it has to give me a reward for taking second place in the Fusion Cup, right? But Vez didn't feel all that certain as he booted up the program. He waited nervously as the loading screen appeared and the familiar menu popped up. The system was back in action. Hey, system, did you miss me? Welcome, user. You have 2 impending messages waiting for your perusal. Do you wish to display them? Yes, give me my rewards. Vez rubbed his hands together, certain the messages contained the goodies he had earned for his great performance. You have assembled an original mech design from a selection of pre-prepared components. Design evaluation, Drake. Model name, Drake. Original manufacturer, Vez Larkinson. Weight classification, medium. Recommended role, jump trooper. Armor, B-. Carrying capacity, C. Aesthetics, C+. Endurance, C. Energy efficiency, E+. Flexibility, D. Firepower, B-. Integrity, F+. Mobility, B+. Spotting, C. X Factor, E-. Cost efficiency, A. Project involvement, 75%. Original component composition, 0%. Overall evaluation. A shoddy mech compared to genuine models. It nevertheless fulfilled its purpose. Put together out of standard pre-assembled components, the Drake is remarkably cost-efficient if produced on a large scale. However, its lack of integrity and energy efficiency prevents this model from outperforming any other budget model. You have received 1,000 design points for completing an original design, which has no further equivalent. You have received 100 design points for designing a mech with a trace of X Factor.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.